Welcome to At Home Yoga. My name is Laura with TC Fits. Thanks for joining me for today's class. All you'll need today is some flat floor space, a yoga mat or a bath towel, and hopefully a few moments to yourself. We're going to begin seated today. If you'd like to take your mat and roll it up to give your hips a little bit of extra height, you're welcome to do so. We begin seated, legs crossed, middle finger and thumb resting against one another, and backs of the hands on top of the inside edges of our knees. You're welcome to close your eyes and just follow along. Let's begin with our breath. Draw your breath in through your nose and allow your entire trunk, the entire tubular section in the middle part of our body to expand. And as we exhale, we also breathe out through our nose, stringing one breath into the next. We spend our first few minutes of yoga with our breath as a way to quiet our mind. Give your mind a chance to settle into your body. Reacclimate to living in the moment that we're actually in. Inhaling, feeling our breath slide down the back of our windpipe, reaching all the way down to the depth of our hip bones and filling our belly, the base of our lungs, the middle portion of our lungs, and the upper portion of our lungs. As we exhale, our air exits in the opposite patterns, settling away from our collarbones, sinking down past our navel, and back out through our nose. It's a three-part breath, the very bottom of our trunk, the middle, and then upper. Imagine connecting each inhale and exhale. So as you finish one breath out, just as that breath escapes your nose, try to breathe that same air right back in. Allow your arms to just rest. Shoulders softened away from our ears. Notice any extra tension that we're holding through our shoulders, the space between our ears, where our arms attach to our bodies. Give yourself permission to let go of what you were working on before this, or what is upcoming. You can control the controllables right now, and that control is centered around our breath. Allow your present thoughts to feel what your body's doing while it's doing it. This connection of our mind and our body and the way it moves during our yoga practice is part of what allows us to leave our practice feeling so refreshed. It's not just about stretching or moving. There's so much more. Let's bring our hands to heart center, placing our palms against one another, fingers spread wide. We begin our movement by stretching our arms up and overhead, clasping our fingers, and reaching up and away, seated side bend. Arms coming back into heart center as we meet in the middle, and stretching up and over towards the opposite side. We'll take this 2 more times to each side. Allow yourself to notice and feel what stretches, what moves, what feels sticky or tight, stale inside our bodies. Last one. And we move our spine in another direction. From here, let's lengthen our legs and cross one ankle on top of the opposite. Whichever leg you have on top, the opposite arm is going to reach for the inside of that knee, and the other arm reaches behind. Seated twist. As you breathe in this rotating position, notice your spine. It sort of uncoils as you exhale and inhale. Try to create more rotation. And exhale, just settle in. Let's take 3 more breaths, holding the seated side twist. As you complete that 3rd breath, allow yourself to rotate back to center, and we'll trade sides. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what it looks like. Stretching the opposite leg long, bring the arm up, creating rotation, and reaching behind us. Notice your breath. Feel how it feels as you breathe. Breathing is movement. It's the only movement that we do continuously all day long. Hold for 2 more breaths in and out. Allow your spine to unwind, and if you've rolled your mat up, you can take this time to flatten it back out. As we move on, let's begin our next pose on all 4s. So hands beneath our shoulders, knees beneath our hips. You're welcome to take that fist for wrist shape to keep your wrists a little bit more neutral or straight. And we move into cat and cow. Allowing ourselves a big inhale as we move into cow, as we sway back position. And exhale, finding cat. Belly button reaching for the sky, hips and head tucked under. Inhale to expand, bringing our breath into our lungs really deep and wide. Exhale, moving in the opposite direction. You've got the A-OK to exaggerate these poses as much as is comfortable for your body today. Every time we visit our mat to practice yoga, we're in a little bit different place, and it's okay to respect that and move with whatever capacity you have today. Inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Take one more pass between both cat and cow. And find the halfway point between those 2 shapes. This should kind of bring our spine back to a flat position. And now we're going to take sideways cat and cow. So allow your shoulder to reach towards the same hip, like you're wagging your tail and your head, and move back to center, and then off to the opposite side. The rib cage on one side moving away from that same hip bone. And then on the opposite side, the rib cage moving towards your hip bone. Creating length on one side and a lack of length on the other. Take one more pass between both right and left sides. From our cat and cow, we'll bring it down onto our side with knees bent and stacked one on top of another. You can create a little pillow for your head if you like. Top arm reaching out and in front of you. Aiming to keep our hips anchored, our knees still, and our feet in place. Bring your top arm up and allow yourself to rotate. Even if your eyes are closed and you're just listening, I encourage you to take your vision towards the fingertips of your top arm. So we're creating rotation, keeping the base of the spine steady, and rotating as we move up. Let's stay for one more big breath in and out. And as we return to center, let's reach our arm up and overhead, sort of like you're trying to get something from a really tall shelf, and sweep your arm back around to the beginning position. We'll do this one more time, 3 more times, but moving at a little bit more rapid pace. So stretch up and over, creating rotation, and then sweep your arm around. Let's take this 2 more times. Up and over, rotate, sweep and reach. One more time, stretching up, over, and rotate. From here, you can either spin move and move on to the other side, or just roll over. I'm gonna spin. Hips, knees, and ankles are stacked. Bottom arm creating a spot for our head to land. Top arm stretching up towards the sky and allowing ourselves to twist. This first time through, we just stay put. Notice our breath. Looking towards our top hand. Each time we exhale, allowing a little bit more length and rotation to occur. Take 2 more breaths here. From here, we sweep our arm up overhead and back and around. Then 3 more times through with this side. Stretching up and over and reaching overhead. Last time, stretching up, over into rotation, and sweeping the arm around. From here, let's turn over and reconvene in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes towards one another. Allow your arms to stretch out overhead. Imagine somebody has their hands on the back of your rib cage, just below your shoulder blades. Just fingers spread wide, palms resting against the base of your lungs, the base of your rib cage. As you inhale, try to make those hands, imaginary hands, move wide, up and back. Bringing our breath deep into corners of our lungs that we may not visit on a regular basis. This really deep utilization of the lower lobes of our lungs is a huge positive. It's good for our brain to recognize that our body is taking big, deep breaths. When we give our mind this stimulus of full inhales, our brain is a little bit more apt to allow us to relax. If we're in a safe enough, calm enough environment to take in big inhales, full deep exhales, we must be in a safe place. And let your nervous system unwind a little bit. From here, we move into our half series, drawing our shoulders up over our hands. The knees may remain on the mat, or you can bring them up and into high plank position. From our high plank, we move into low plank or crocodile. Just sort of this little hovered position right above our mat, and then moving into cobra. extended, arched position for our spine. And from here we turn our toes under, strong press into our hands to lift our hips up and back, finding downward facing dog. Allow your heels to pedal out. Give yourself a little chance to settle in. And waggle your way into this shape. Heels of the hands anchoring us into our mat, fingertips spread wide to accept the weight of our upper body. Armpits are open and long, shoulders away from our ears. Heels trying to reach towards the ground. If they never get there, that's perfectly fine. We're just aiming in that direction. From here, we walk our feet towards our hands and find forward fold. Your forward fold can look whatever it needs to look like for you to feel comfortable. You can have legs long, you can add a bend to the knees, you can widen your stance a little bit. Just whatever you need to do to be able to let your head and neck kind of hang heavy here. Our head is a lot like a bowling ball sitting on the top of our spine. It weighs a lot. It takes a lot of effort to put it in the right position all day. We use the weight of that to try to release some tension from our upper back and neck. From our forward fold, we're going to stay put, but allow our arms to stretch up and back. You can get a hold of your fingers, great. If not, you can just reach your arms out overhead. Shoulder expansion in forward fold. And this is a great one if you have like a bath towel or a hand towel nearby. You can snag and grab one end, stretch it out overhead. It makes our arms a little bit longer. From our shoulder expansion, we allow our fingers to release and lower, lifting our spine halfway up into monkey. In monkey, you can have the knees long or have them a little bit soft, just creating a nice straight line from the very crown of our head out through the very bottom of our pelvis, our sit bones. Allow yourself to fold forward. And from here we stretch tall, up and into mountain pose. Before bringing the palms together and sinking into chair. From here, we move into twisted chair, bringing elbow towards opposite knee. So if you can get your elbow there, great. If not, aim it in that direction. We just hold and balance, breathe, and request that our lower body tries to hold us in place. From our twisted chair, we unwind into back and into forward fold. From our forward fold, lifting halfway up into monkey and into forward fold. Reverse swan dive back up and into mountain. Palms coming against one another, settling into chair. And moving into twisted chair in the opposite direction, so elbow aiming towards the other knee this time. From our twisted chair, we unwind back into forward fold. Lift halfway into monkey. Sink into forward fold. And reverse swan dive back up into mountain. Bringing our palms to heart center. We move into our balance challenge for today, which is eagle pose. Eagle is a one-legged balance. From our mountain pose, let's sink our hips back and down slightly. Take your right leg and cross it over your left. From here, bring your forearms up. Take your right arm, reach it under your left, backs of the knuckles together, or bound, wrapping all the way around. This bottom leg can stay sort of kickstanded against the ground, or if you like to wrap it around, hold and breathe. From the side view, it looks like this. Hold and balance. Elbows stay at shoulder height. Let's stay for 3 breaths. From here, unwind, stretching tall into mountain. Drawing our hands back to heart center. Second side, settling our hips slightly back and down. No bend to the knees. Your left leg over your right. Bring your forearms right in front of you. Your left arm underneath your right. Wrapping around, or knuckles stay against one another. You can keep this kickstanded foot or bind with the leg. Hold and balance, eagle pose. Windy in here today. Hold for 3 breaths. As you're ready, unhook, unwind, stretch tall into mountain. And from here, hinge forward, swan dive. From our forward fold, we step our hands forward and feet back into downward facing dog. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with the hip opener, modified pigeon. You're welcome to take face up pigeon, and I'll demonstrate that as well. Let's draw one knee forward. You can choose which side you'd like to do first. Drag your shin underneath you. And allow your hips to sink back and down. And turn your back toe under if you'd like. Hands can stay here, chest elevated, or you can bring yourself down onto forearms. If you've got enough length through your hip and it's comfortable, you're welcome to bring your forehead towards your fists. If this pose gives you sort of a pinchy feeling in the front of your hip, I encourage you to try this version, the face-up version. One ankle crossed on top of the opposite knee. Hands having a hold of that bottom thigh, drawing it towards you. You can also take one hand to press the top knee away from you. Settling into whichever pose feels more comfortable for you today. We'll stay for 10 breaths. If you are in the face-up version, unhook your top ankle and grab behind your knees, rock from side to side. If you are in the face-down version, press your palms into the ground to lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Sort of hitting the reset button before we trade sides. Go ahead and create whichever shape is your choice today. Face up or face down. Pigeon. Big hip opener. Stay for 10 breaths. We get this quiet time to just enjoy how the body feels, noticing what's going on the inside. If you're in downward facing pigeon pose, go ahead and drag your back leg forward. If you are in face up, unhook your ankle and continue to hang on behind your knees. And if you were in that other version, feel free to join us in this shape, hands behind the knees, and give yourself a little rock from side to side. From here, we draw the knees towards our forehead, creating a small, compact version of ourselves before allowing our body to find the mat. Settle yourself into final Shavasana, arms and legs restful, mind quiet and calm, and enjoy how your body feels. Enjoy the peace that you've created inside your mind. This time belongs to you and no one else. I encourage you to stay for as long as you're able. This is a state that takes a lot of effort to create. It's the gift that you've given yourself at the end of your yoga practice. When you're ready, does not need to be right now. Add a bend to your knees and turn yourself to your right side. From this side-lying shape, we bring ourselves up and into a cross-legged position with the hands at heart center and finish our practice with the word Namaste.